folks, back for another episode of Morphy's Games of Chess. This time, game number 16. And let me tell you, this one's got the fireworks that Morphy's known for. All right, we got one of his most famous combinations. You might have seen it, but you know what? This is great to just go over because you see how it develops. You know, a lot of you out there, you strengthen your tactics by doing puzzles, right? You get 1,001 combinations and sacrifices and stuff like this. You go through the many books that are out there, and even the chess programs they have now, you blast through them, strengthen your tactics. The only problem with this, right, it's good practice, don't get me wrong, okay, but the one problem with it that's lacking is that you don't create the combination. You don't see how it formed, how it came about during the game. You just get to that moment where black has a winning combination or white has a mate in 3, you know, and you don't have no idea how you got there. So you don't know how to create them. This is why I think this is a step above. You take a tactical player like Morphy, and not only do you get the great combinations and attacks, but you see how they develop. You get the whole story, you know, to the game, the whole story. That's what we're trying to do here. All right, so let's get into it. Maybe you've seen this combination. It's a great one. Definitely one for the record books. All right, so anyway, here we go. Paulson's got the white pieces, e4, e5, and what ends up happening, the knights come out. Paulson brings out his queen knight. Morphy brings out his king knight. 4 knights game. 4 knights game. Okay, here we go. Paulson, bishop to b5, and Morphy, bishop to c5. He really loved that king bishop on c5, aiming at the enemy king. Okay, now right here we got a note. Says, seldom played now in comparison with the double Ruy Lopez. Right, look, I guess this is the typical thing they mean by the double Ruy Lopez. Right? But all right, different game. You know, it's funny how the subtleties of chess, you know, one little different move, and it unfolds a whole different story, a whole different battle. All right, so then it says, it also says, nor approved by the annals. Let me read it again. Seldom played now in comparison with the double Ruy Lopez, nor approved by the analysts. All right, let's see what happens, okay? You got to prove it. Here you go. They both castle. And look at this, Paulson going in, taking the pawn. What did he lose his mind? Well, look, folks, if Morphy took back, he gets his, you know, you play d4. That's the pawn trick. You know, you got to be aware of this one in many openings, right? But what ends up happening is something like this. You know, you take and then you go here. You know, you get your pawn back, and it's just, you know, it just opens up the game, and who knows? You go from there, right? But this isn't what Morphy does. He doesn't take the knight. Look at this now, okay? Let's see what he does here. What does he do? He brings the rook. The rook comes over, bearing down on the knight, and also, you know, once the knight moves, you got 2 on the e4 pawn, the white e4 pawn. Okay, so anyway, look at this, though. Here's a note. Getting back his lost pawn at great cost to position, says Steinitz. Steinitz, the first official world champion, doesn't like this rook move by Morphy. Okay, they say he gets his pawn back, but at great cost of position. You know, so here we go. Now, the knight, Paulson grabs the knight, chops the knight off. But here we got another note. Very important. Here we go. It says, knight to d3, holding the pawn, because you're gaining the tempo here, the bishop, right? He's hanging. He's got to move. Let's just say he moves back here, right? And then I guess, I don't know, what does he protect it? He protects the pawn, maybe like this, maybe like that. I didn't even look at it. But I guess that's the idea. It doesn't say here in the notes. It says knight to d3 with a tempo on the bishop, holding the pawn would cramp white too much. So it's not recommended, even though you hold the pawn, you cramp white. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of you guys out there are disagreeing. A pawn is a pawn. You hold on to it and you slowly unravel. I mean, I guess the knight on d3 prevents the d pawn from moving, and so the queen bishop stays locked in. Maybe you could do something develop, push b3 and develop the bishop on b2. Is it all that bad? I mean, all right. I don't know. They say it's cramping. So they say they don't recommend that. Here's what they recommend. The old masters, here they go. They go to Morphy, Pillsbury, Nuremberg, 1896, continued with the knight going back. Okay? Now, black tries to recover his pawn. Okay? You got d4 coming in. Okay? He takes here. This is what they give as best. Pawn takes. Now the bishop's got to move, right? Okay. Now, again, this was Morphy, Pillsbury. So Pillsbury had black. He moved the bishop here. Okay, but then Morphy played d5, hitting the knight. And it says, with an excellent game. So white gets an excellent game like this. It's got just the space advantage. I mean, forget about it, right? That's pretty cramped. But there's a little note in between the notes. And they said instead of Pillsbury bringing the bishop to e7, he should have brought it all the way back here to f8. It just says bishop to f8 is better. Then when you hit him with this, right? I guess the logic being, when I checked with the computer, you got e7 for the knight now. And that's supposed to be better now. But again, a whole different game, whole different game, right? That was Morphy, Pillsbury, two titans of the chessboard long ago. All right, so anyway, here we go. What does Paulson do? Like we said, he takes the knight, chops the knight off. Morphy taken back with the queen pawn, right? Opening up the queen bishop on the light squares, getting ready to bring that one out. Okay, plus now, all right, he's hitting the bishop on b5. Bishop's got to move, right? Paulson, bishop to c4. Not so good, as until recently it was always thought to be. Perhaps white has nothing better than bishop to e2, giving up the pawn at once without a struggle. That's the notes. They're saying this, right? They're saying this. Just let him get the pawn back. You go from there, right? That's a game. Okay, now look. This is all make you laugh. I don't know, the chess engine, let's see what this one does. Schroeder played the bishop to d3. To d3. Maybe you play b3 and then get the bishop on b2, and you got your pawn still, right? But they're just saying this, okay? They're saying this. Now, we got the move by Morphy now. Looks good to me, folks. Looks good to me. All right? b5, hit that bishop. Come on, get out of here. All right? Now what's going to happen, you got a tempo on the bishop. The bishop moves, and then you could, you could push up and hit the knight on c3, which defends the pawn. I mean, we got two on it, though, right, folks? We got the knight and the rook, but watch this closely. Watch this. Let me point this out. Okay. Morphy plays this, okay, and the notes go like this. It says, this, though Steinitz calls it a forced move, is not correct, as will be seen. Knight takes pawn is worse. It is true, because of knight takes knight. Rook takes, and then you got bishop takes with check, and then the queen comes out, and you recapture the rook on e4. See that? Okay. They give that as better for black. I mean, you won the exchange, and hey, you're up a pawn too. So there you go, right? Now look at this. Watch this. So you can't do that. Okay, if that's your first thought, just take your pawn back. No, can't do it. So I guess this holds a little trap, bishop c4. But it says here, but black has another resource. So Steinitz, let's see, yeah, he says, this is bad, as we just seen, okay? You'll lose the exchange and the pawn. He doesn't like this. He says it's forced, but there's another move. But black has another resource, a correspondence game in 1909 between H. Erskine and CEC Tattersall. Continued. Knight to G4, and black obtained a winning attack. The game with the winner's analysis may be found in British Chess Magazine, November 1909, page 477 to 479. Can you believe it? I mean, this is unbelievable. This is like archaeology, you know. They got the records and the stuff to find these things. I tell you, you got to you could probably go on the Digital Library of America, which is a cool site. You go on there, you could find some obscure, out-of-print material. Maybe you could dig that up, you know. I'll tell you, it sparks my interest, but in the sake of time, folks, you know, I don't have the time, unfortunately. I'm a married guy with kids, you know. It's just tough. But some of you kiddos, maybe you look it up, so you find out some interesting how that game turned out. But anyway, let's get back to the main theme, right? Morphy's games of chess here. And that was the idea. There's an idea for black. Maybe you play this position. I'll tell you, you're going to like what Morphy does, though. Watch this now. I don't know why. They give it a question mark. They give B5 a question mark. I don't know. I like the way. I mean, just this game is an example. Okay, here we go. Watch this now. Paulson pulls the bishop back to E2 now, right? But look at this right away. Here, look at this. Watch what happens if you do this one. Okay, now remember, the bishop should go here to protect diagonal. You see this? By pulling it back here, he's got no hope of helping out the queen, because after this, now you put your light square bishop over there on G4. Look at the queen. This pawn can't move, folks. It's pinned. It can't come up to block that bishop out. So the queen's in trouble, right? Well, I mean, you know, somewhat. You go there with the queen, the only square, right? And look at this. Like I said, now you push that pawn further up. The B pawn goes further up, and now it disrupts the knight on C3, right? Well, here you go. White doesn't move. The line they give doesn't move the knight. He hits the bishop, right? You take me, I'll take you. All right, but they say pull the bishop back. All right, they hit it again. And lo and behold, you pull the bishop back to G6, and what's it aiming at? Folks, it's aiming on E4, right? Now there's 3 on it. Now there's 3 pieces on E4. All right, the knight's still hanging. All right, he tries to gain time over here like this by attacking the bishop. We take with the knight, and when I was playing Shredder, let's see what happens. Let's pull up this one. Now, black's doing fine here. We want to just conclude right at this point. Black's doing fine, right? But let's do this. Let's bring it out. Let's bring out the analysis. Chess genius. Here we go. All right, just like Shredder, he took. All right, now I take, unleashing the rook on E8 on the queen, right? Now there's no blocking, there's nothing. She's got to go back to D1, right? Okay, here comes the queen. Look at the attack you're starting to build. The queen comes attacking H3, okay? Now, funny thing is, all right, they're putting the king here. When I played Shredder, it came to G2. And I'll show you something that's pretty funny. Let's say I want to show you this combination that I found against Shredder. Maybe I didn't let the engine run long enough, and it quickly went from G2 first. I'll give this another few seconds. Maybe it'll like G2 for some reason, like Shredder. Maybe I didn't give Shredder enough time. Well, let's see. I don't know. He's going to King H2, right? But let's see what happened. I'm going to show you the combination I do. Oh, look. It just turned. Look. King to G2, right? Okay. That's what it found, just like Shredder. Okay. See, that's what I mean. You let the engine work a little bit. It goes deeper. For some reason, it likes G2 better. Okay, here you go. But now, look at this. So I said, wait, what about this bishop check, right? Now, the natural-looking move would be to play the pawn up, right? How many of your opponents would do this? I mean, come on. You got to admit it, right? Anyone under 2,000, they play this. You get a little panicky. You put the pressure on the bishop. Get out of here. You play F3, right? But look at this. You leave the bishop there. You take the bishop on B3. You leave your bishop on E4, right? Now you're attacking the rook, right? All right. So if he takes this, you win the exchange, right? All right. So most people would say, all right, I can't allow that. And not only that, your knight's still, It's in the corner. It's probably a lost cause. He's going to probably go in the box. And even if he does, you're up the exchange, right? But, I mean, hey, he's got to get it, right? But let's go back. Let's see. Black's winning fine. He's up the exchange, okay? Even if that knight never comes out, okay? But let's say no way. Let's take the knight. We don't want to lose the exchange, right? Watch this, folks. Do you see the move here? I mean, it's unbelievable. When I fell off my seat. Oh, you're probably looking at the end. You're probably cheating, right? All right, look at this. Bishop takes C2. You do the impossible, huh? Look at this. This is insane. You look at the engine's answer. D4, right? D4. Then you just chop off the queen. Now, of course, you're saying, wait, what the heck? Let me take this guy. What's going on here? Folks, the rook comes right down with check. Deadly check. Game over. Game over. You can't block. You take, right? No matter where he goes. Where's he want to go, right? You go there. You worm your way in with the queen. Game over. Okay? If instead on the check you go here, you just blast through the pawn. There you go. Take it. You could check him there. Made him here or there. Take your pick. How about that one, right? I mean, unbelievable stuff, right? I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't know. I just find this crazy. Look at this. I mean, I did not see this one coming. I mean, the queen can't move, right? He can't come. The only other two squares to escape to is here, and the rook's got him. The rook's little mouse slipped there. The rook's got him dead to rights. I mean, it's over, right? Game over with this one. What a move. We got to see that again. Look at this. Unbelievable, right? Folks, rooks to the 7th. You're on the rook takes the open file. This is the standard procedure, folks. Game in and game out. You see it over and over by Morphy. Rook to the open file. Rook down to the 7th. Just, wrecking havoc in the enemy position. Over and over, we see it again and again. Okay? All right. I had to show you that one. That one, you got to love it, right? You got to love it. All right, so where are we? We'll go back, okay? This is what they're talking about. They basically got to this, then the bishop here, right? It's more advantageous to black. That's where they left it, okay? As simple as that. They left it there. I threw in the little extra, and I stumbled across this. Queen has to move here, right? Now the queen's over there with nowhere to go. You start attacking those pawns. The king comes up. You give the check. All right, now the engine will say here, but just how many of your opponents would do this, right? Knight takes. You don't want to lose the exchange. Instant replay, right? Wham. Game over. Oh, man. Give me the brilliancy prize, right? All right, let's go. Let's go back. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. This one's full of a lot of surprises. Get ready. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg. Here we go. So this all stems after the B5 move, which Steinitz doesn't like, right? Hey, look at what it did, right? It opened it up like that. Beautiful stuff. The bishop can't go to B3. Paulson knows it. All right, he plays correctly. He is a master, folks. He plays it to E2, correct move. Okay. Now, knight takes the pawn. We get the pawn back. Okay, we get our pawn back. But black's got the, the double C pawns. Okay, a little damage on the queen side. So here you go. Knight takes knight. And it says here, watch this one. One move to the next. One attack to the next. Look at this. If bishop here, okay, look at this move. Knight takes pawn, right? You're going after the queen, right? You're hitting the queen. Where could the queen go? You can't block a knight attack, right? So black's got to take that knight off. The queen could go nowhere, right? So you got to chop him off. And now, look at this move. Queen at D4, right? The rook's pinned. So now if you try, look, you can't come to the E file. Remember the rook on E8, right? But you could defend it from here, right? All right, let's take it off. All right, you take back. Checkmate. Did you see that one, folks? Very, very crucial. Very good combination to memorize there. Attacking scheme. You get the piece pinned, and it's an actual back rank mate. The queen can't take. It's pinned, folks, to the bishop on c5. This is why Morphy loved that king bishop on c5. Opens up a lot of different tactics. Okay. All right. So anyway, there you go. You got this, right? What else happens here? What else? We had some other craziness, right? Oh, look at this one. Here you go. The knight trying to protect, right? Okay, we sack the rook. Okay, bishop takes. We take with check. King over. Watch this now, folks. Watch this. You got the bishop to g4. Look at this. Bishop to g4. The queen, where's it going to go, right? Let me make sure this is correct. Because, yes, the queen can't go anywhere, or the queen takes it off, right? Can't go here. Queen takes queen, mate. Can't go here. Queen takes queen, mate. And even here, because we got the dark square battery, folks. Dark square battery, queen and bishop on the same diagonal. All right. So what does he do? What does he try to do? Look at this. Look at this. You try to block him out like that, huh? You try to block him this way. And then what was the move? I forget. This was crazy. Let me see. If you take, the queen takes. To take, and maybe bishop. Just curious on this. If I take here, the queen can't come up and take. If you take this way, you go in with mate, right? So the pawn would have to take, right? The pawn takes. Do we have this threatening mate on h2? Right? The queen goes to g1. I guess I could take here. I saw up to this, but then he blocks there, right? So wait a minute. Why even move my bishop? Oh, because the queen's protecting. Yeah. That's not it. Okay. All right. So this goes there. The rook, the bishop blocks. And they're saying the rook to e. All right, strong enough, right? Get the big guns involved. Rook to e8, threatening, rook to e1. I just can't help but see there was a crazy move with the bishop to h3 before, but I don't see it now. Let me just see something. We go back the other move, right? Takes, goes over. No, that's it. Okay, bishop up. There was this. I think the engine even found that too. And we don't take here. Watch the mistake that could happen. This is what happened with Shredder. If you make the mistake in taking here, he gets the bishop out. All right, he's throwing it into the wind, right? But he's hitting our queen now. And if we chop him off, well, now he chops this guy off. And look at that. He's back in the game. The rook defends the back rank from A1, and it's an even game, right? Even Steven, pretty much. All right, with that, you got to, what are you up, a pawn? You're up 2 pawns, but still, you got him on the ropes. You got to knock him out, right, folks? Don't grab. You take the queen, right? I know you guys are yelling at the screen. Just grab the queen. What are we fooling around for, right? Because, look, he can't even take your bishop now. Checkmate, right? So there you go. I mean, I know. I'm just being thorough. It was a funny line. I'm just showing you how you could easily make a mistake and you put your opponent right back in it. Okay, but here, that d4, all right, that's not the better move. This is better. All right, you get the rook over here, threatening rook e1. What could he really do? Here it is. Look. If you take the bishop now, let's see if this makes sense. They're saying mate and 4. You take here, right? You're threatening queen takes g2, right? If the queen takes, right? Yeah, you got the mate still. The battery, folks, the battery. Can't do it like that. So now the pawn has to take, right? There you go. You're threatening this. He's got a force to take that off. There you go. Right? And it's all over. All over. Look at this. Beautiful, right? We've seen that one before. The 2 pawns take away the squares, the escape squares for the king on G2. Look at this. Beautiful, right? Beautiful patterns. And we're seeing how they're cropping up right from the game itself. You understand? We're not just throwing these combinations and you find the move, mate and 2, mate and 3. We're showing how they crop up from the game itself. All right. So anyway, this one comes about. This one comes about if Paulson was to make the mistake and hit that knight, the knight sacks on F2. Looks impossible, right, folks? All right, anything's possible when you're going over a Paul Morphy game, let me tell you. All right, so now, okay, so we had knight takes knight, okay? Paulson takes the knight. Morphy takes back, okay? Now he hits him with the bishop, right? And here it is. Nor, here's a note, nor is the move good now. Here we go. Look at this one. Pawn to C3 first is necessary, and then white has a chance of profiting by black's weak queen side pawns. Like we said, these 2 pawns are isolated, and they're a target, right? You know, maybe it's a slight disadvantage. Okay, if black plays right, he probably could draw this, but that's the point right here. Maybe white could profit attacking those pawns. Lasker objects to pawn to C3 that it permits queen here, okay? But in his analysis, he fails to notice bishop to F3, he only breaks down the analysis of 2 moves, which is 12 G3 or 12 D4. Okay? And in both cases, now I don't have it, unfortunately I don't have that analysis from his, I heard of this book before. Emanuel Lasker wrote a book called Common Sense. It has a lot of highly recommended by many authors. I've always, that title's always cropped up. You could probably find that book somewhere, and you could probably mine the gold nuggets of knowledge out of that one. But, you know, they only give 2. They say they only give the 2 analysis off of 2 moves, D4 or G3, okay? And then I guess he proves that black, you know, gets a good game. But they're saying he doesn't analyze this. And it says right here, this omission is all important. This move is very crucial for white. And, I mean, even with the engine, look at this. Now, my guess might be, right, the logic being you attack in the rook, you pull the rook back, you bring it to E6 to protect your C6 pawn, right? But now you're blocking this guy, okay? So maybe that's where white can build. I mean, now he's going to hit him with this, right? Get the queen, bishop out, and he's good to go, right? But I'll tell you what, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just quickly, we got to get back to the game because there's so much, you know, we got to see the great attacks and the ideas that are going to crop up. You're going to love this combination by Morphy if you haven't seen it before. But anyway, you know, for the sake of time, even if we play, I let the engine run. Even this one, I played Shredder, and he came up with this move. Don't move the rook back. And I think this is pretty much, to me, I think it's just like the other 2 moves. Black hangs in there. It's to me, I'd say it's a draw after everything. I mean, you know, we got pieces swarming around the white king. You know, we're trying to attack him. I think white can hang in there. And you know, big deal. What, the black pawns are busted up a little bit on the queen side? I mean, come on. Is that worth enough for white to win once he can beat back this attack? I mean, look at the engine here saying to play D3. Shredder didn't do that. I don't know. But anyway. Yeah. You take here, right? Is that, yeah, again, we get sucked right into it, right, folks? If you're like me, you're looking for moves, right? You're getting sucked right in. It's a game, you know. Let's just leave it at that. It's a game. Any of these. Any of these. Look at this. Look, I'll show you. Okay? Here's G3, right? All right. Here, with Shredder, this was the recommended. You're putting pressure on the bishop on E2, right? You retreat, but you're putting pressure on. All right. He moves it there. Good square. Okay? And you go from there. I mean, you either pull the rook back. What was the move here? Rook comes back. The bishop could come up. He takes there. Does that make sense? I think, here was the move, folks. Look at this. Yes, in Chess Genius just found it, too. Look. Bishop. Now, if he takes here, big boo-boo. We don't take the rook. We take the bishop. Game over. You see that? The pawn is pinned. F2, still pinned, folks. Bishop C5. There it is again. Very important piece in the attack. All right, what's he going to look? Here you go. You can only block for a move. He buys one move worth of time. Game over. Queen at G2 next, mate. Isn't that something? All right, so now get a load of this. When White doesn't take, right? He hits the... Now, look, you can't even do this. You can't move the rook out of the way. You chop them off. Plus, now you're forking the king and queen, right? The whole thing collapses. Okay, you can't move that guy. Here's what he does. Look at Chess Genius. Just like Shredder. Plays D4, hitting your bishop. Okay? Now you take... Now I believe you take the rook on F1. You take the rook. All right? And then he takes your rook. Something like that, right? Yeah, there you go. The engine caught up. There you go. Bishop takes. Bishop takes here. Queen takes. You're threatening mate on G2, right? So if you were dumb enough to take there, you get mate. There you go, right? You can't do it. You got to take the light square bishop. Okay? You got to take the light square bishop. All right, they're saying to take with this guy. All right, you retreat to here or there. I don't know. I think Shredder liked this one for some reason. I don't know. I'd like to aim at the king side over there, perhaps. And you go from there, right? There you go. And it's a game. There you go. It's a game. But okay, again, doubled C pawns, right? Is it worth a loss for black? I don't think so. Come on. All right. Develops this one. There you go, right? A whole different game. I know we're getting into it, right? There was some interesting tactics there. But okay, now the other one was this, right? This one, what are you going to do? You go here, you threaten mate, right? He plays G3, okay? Plays G3. I mean, yeah, G3, Queen H3, is that it? Yeah, Queen H3, and I don't know. It's tough. I think White hangs in there. I wonder if, yeah, if I was just looking at something. If I sack here and he takes, he's got F3, right? Because then if the queen moves, I was going to worm my way in, but, I was going to worm my way in there. But he that doesn't work. Because he could protect F3, make sure I don't get in there like this. Okay, so, all right. Again, though, look at this. Could he play F3, something like that? All right. Yeah, see that? Oh, look at that. He's trying to, you bring it back, trying to get this one, get your exchange back. But, you don't have the time. All right. So, anyway, yeah, that wouldn't be too smart to sack your rook at that point. You don't sack him. Look at this move. Look at this. I like that. I like that one. Look. If he takes, right, you're threatening me. Queen takes H2. If he takes here, right, there you go. Watch this pattern. I think we've seen it before. Forced here. You pull it back to G3. He's forced back, right? Boom. Goodbye. Checkmate. Checkmate, right? All right, that's a nice one. Now, let's see what happens. If you do this, right, what does he do? What does he do? He's got to go, he's got to go here, right? Take. Yeah, look, it's mate. King over there. Now, wait a minute. What did I do wrong for White? Did I do something wrong? Because it wasn't that easy against Shredder. Oh, I threw the I played A3, which is I just burned the move. Okay. But I'll tell you, folks, This is what I'm saying. You know, you're playing someone under 2,000. They're not going to play correctly. And if you really study these games with me, you'll be able to whip it up to the point where when they make that little foolish mistake, the inaccurate move, it all collapses. All right? You'll have the tactics. Now, okay, look, they're saying this, right? Keep that rook from going to h4. All right? So anyway, it's a game, I guess, now, right? It's a game. What else are we going to do? They're saying rook e7. All right, so there you go, right? It's a whole other thing, right? We're getting sucked right in. Which one was this now? This was the d4 move, right? And the last one, just to touch on it again, they're saying Lasker didn't go over this, okay? But they came up with this. Schroeder did the same thing. Now, he didn't come up with this move. I think he hit my queen. Was that right? And if you take here, he takes here. I think queen to h3, but then he would come back. Well, anyway, there you go. It's still a game, right? Look, point 40. White's still in it. Maybe some of you, budding Kasparovs are really seeing stuff I'm not seeing. But there you go, right? Now look at this. Maybe you got to force to get the queens off because this one's attacked, right? And if you move it, where you're going to move it, the only other place to move it's maybe here to defend your rook. That's the only other place you can really go. I mean, they're giving this and then the queen trade. What about this? Does this help? What happens here? Yeah, there you go. We're getting sucked in. We're getting sucked right in, right, folks? I guess once the rook moves, you lose the c. Well, no. Even if he hits this guy, right? We bring it to e6. So it protects c6, right? There you go. What's going on? I don't know. Whole other battle, right? Let's just say draw. I mean, if you look at the material, it's pretty even. Okay, so there you go. Anyway, let's get back to the game. I mean, come on, right? I'm sorry. I'm really going into the weeds here. So now, let me find where I am. God. All right. Here we go. Where are we? This is move 10, right? Knight takes, rook takes. Okay. They're saying this, okay? Paulson plays this first, okay? Very important to notice something, though, now. On this move, watch this. The rook comes back, like we've been saying, protecting this guy, because the bishop's bearing down on c6, right? So we save our rook. We don't want to lose the exchange, and we pull it back, right? Now, Paulson plays c3. And guess what Morphy does, all right? I'll give you a little hint. We've seen this against Paulson. Morphy had this idea, and he used a knight to do it. He used the knight to do it, all right, against Paulson Sicilian. Do you remember the move? Maybe you're getting the idea. Look at this, folks. Queen to d3. Does it look familiar? The idea. Block that d-pawn. Now the bishop can't come out, which keeps the bishop locked in, which keeps the queen-rook locked in, right? There you go. I mean, and look, you can't boot them off the light squares because we got control. We got the rook, folks. You can't do this. You just lose the piece. You just lose the piece either this way, who knows what's better. But, I mean, you can't shake that queen out of there, right? Oh, what a mess. Now this really locks Paulson up, ties him up in knots. Okay, and it's funny because look at the notes. Look at what they say here. Right here, we'll go back a couple of moves, and here's what it says. Pawn, all right, at this stage right here, you pull the thing, this, not c3, it says right here, d3. d3 is all that remains to him now, and it gives him a very fair game. It is curious that Paulson should overlook how the transposition of his 11th and 12th moves led in the hostile queen to his undoing. Look, reverse the other two moves, right? We were talking about it. Look, if this was played first, okay, and let's just say, now the queen can't come here because the bishop, what are we doing, right? The bishop's still covering the square, right? So now let's just give, I don't know, for black, we give like we did in the other line, right? Like we were just looking at. And there we go. We got the bishop goes there now. There's no queen d3 locking up the queen side pieces of Paulson. And there you go, right? You reverse the moves. You just reversed it. Instead, he plays this first. Now the bishop's not guarding d3. All right, you don't want to play this now. I mean, now you just lose the exchange. What are you doing, right? All right, so you play this instead. And now by him playing this, we just looked at it, right? The queen could cement itself on d3. Oh boy, now watch what happens. Like we said, okay. So now queen exclamation point, queen to d3. All right. Paulson plays the pawn up, attacking the king bishop. Morphy pulls him back to b6, and here comes the next pawn. Look, he's trying to trap him. Can you get a load of this? Unbelievable. All right. Morphy chops him off. Come on, Paulson. What do you think I am? Come on. All right. Paulson develops the queen. He takes the pawn back. All right. Now look at this. Now Morphy plays bishop to d7. And here's the note. Bishop to b7 would have deprived white of the option queen to a6. Right? He's trying to get this queen out of there so he could push d4 and get his queen bishop out, and then hence unleash his queen rook back into the game too, right? You chase this guy out of the way, but the bishop's on d7. You see, that would have kept him from doing this, right? With Morphy's move, playing it to d7, yeah, you want to get your bishop developed so you could get the queen rook in the game, right? Else you're faring just like Paulson. He's got his queen rook locked out of the game, the queen bishop out of the game. You got to get your pieces into the attack, right? Into the battle. So Morphy does it right by developing his queen bishop, but they're recommending to bring it here. Why? Because now Paulson has this. But guess what? Paulson doesn't play this. Paulson plays rook to a2. Question mark. Here's the quote by Steinitz, a silly move, who claims without proving it that queen to a6 wins for white. MCI. Let me see what that stands for. If you want to, investigate it. Modern chess instructor. Okay, modern chess instructor gave that, I guess, some little analysis by Steinitz to this game. It even says here, I guess, issue 51, page 39. That's something else, huh? All right. You'd be like a detective and investigate that one. But here it has some more notes. Lasker deduces an even ending from it, followed by, after queen to a6, black could bring the queen to f5. They give this. They give d4. Queen rook, of course, to double them up. Double them up on that e-file. Powerful stuff. All right. And then they give bishop here, blocking up, locking up that open file. I mean, black's got those rooks doubled on it. Sometimes it's a good move. You block it up with your bishop while you can. All right. So anyway, look at this, though. Now, I started looking at something right off the bat. What about this move? Okay? And they give in against Shredder and against Genius here. Look at this. Now we take with the rook on e6 attacking that queen, right? All right, so now, very funny stuff. Look at what happens to you. If the queen, all right, they're giving queen c4. Let me just show you the danger of what could happen, right? Let's say you go here, you go just to some square that makes no sense at all. Look. You swing the rook here. Believe it or not, I believe the game's over. Because what ends up happening, actually, wait a minute. No, you don't even have to do that. I think you could just sack. Can you sack this guy? I think you could sack him. Look. He takes rook check, only move king in the corner, and then am I able to play bishop c6, right? And then what could white do here? I mean, look, folks, minus 21. All right, minus 16. Does it matter? Look at white, minus 16. Oh, mate and 8. There you go. I love that one. Mate and 8. Put it to bed, right? Mate and 8. Forget about it. It's all over. Okay? I mean, look, here we go. They're giving this, right? They're giving this. Let's do it. Let's show it, right? Check. You block. You take with the rook. Right now, you just want to pull the rook out. You pull the rook. Look, do anything. Just do something stupid. Pull the rook out. It's mate. See? Okay, now. At this stage, they got to create an escape square. I mean, what if he goes here, right, trying to attack the rook? What do we just take? What about this? What? Oh, wait. Does this work? Oh, no, the bishop's going to come back. Okay, watch what I mean. You take here, right? He blocks. You go down for mate. I thought you had mate, but look, the bishop could come back. Okay. All right. Got to be careful. You got to be careful. That's why. Look at this. They sack. Get rid of that bishop. Get rid of that bishop. Right? Now, if he takes there, all right, now it works. Right? Bishop checks. He goes there. You go there. There. It's over. Rook is pinned. Rook can't move back, guys. Right? Beautiful stuff. Okay? You take there. I don't know. What are they saying now? They're just saying this. Right? H. There you go. Look at this. Can you just, you're going to utilize that bishop, huh? Let me see. Does this work there? Right? He takes, you go there, he comes up, you go here with check, he goes up, right? Oh, look, he's got the block. Son of a gun, right? Because if he comes up, goodbye, game over, right? All right, but either way, you're winning, right? Because if he blocks, I mean, he's got nothing left, right? He's got nothing left. Game over. Right? There you go. Game over. You know, once you got the over, you know, you just, it's funny because you're sacking the queen for nothing but that bishop, huh? You're sacking the queen for the bishop, but it's enough. You get the check. You put the bishop on the light squares. Look, white doesn't have a light square bishop. So the light squares are being utilized, and the rooks are out of position. The rooks are totally out of it to help out. And I mean, there you go. Look, they're giving h3. You take with check. He comes up, right? Bishop check, of course. Now the queen's got a block. This does nothing but lead to mate, right? You take them off. All right, here you go. You take, look, you take with the rook, right? The bishop's more important right now. Because if he takes, there you go. Look, there you go. Crucial bishop check. The nail in the coffin, right? All right. So what did he? I mean, here you go. Do we have to show any more? You take with the rook. Look, he doesn't even take. He goes here. He goes here. Does it matter now? Rook a5 check. Look at this. Rook a5 check. Already blocks with that guy, but we win this one over here now, huh? This is just falls apart. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how you sack that queen for that bishop and the whole thing falls apart? Okay, now look. I mean, your pieces are, they could get to key squares in the attack while whites cannot get to the defense. Now, of course, if you recall, I threw the queen on an obscure, idiotic square that has nothing to do with the position, right? And that's why this falls apart for white. You see, that's all. This is what I'm saying. You beef up in all these tactics and combinations and attacks, a la Morphy, right? You walk into your tournament with all these weapons. Forget about it, folks. This is their opponent makes one little slip. I mean, you know, and it collapses. You're gonna have the weapons. You know what I mean? You're gonna have the arms to just tactically destroy them. All right. So anyway, here's what you know. All right, they're saying here, this is what Shredder did to me, right? He goes there. I moved the rook over here, right, to attack, to now the bishop is threatened. For instance, you do a dumb move like this, right? Obscure move, once again, a totally ridiculous move, has nothing to do with anything. And you take the pawn on G2's pinned, right? Okay, let's take that move back, because here's what white, all right, they're saying this, right? Here's what Shredder, same idea, right? Now, this sets up a very sneaky thing. This happens in your games. This is why I'm pointing it out. Very important. If you go in figuring, well, I can win the bishop because it's pinned, folks, he's on the rook that's pinning G2, and he sacks his queen. You take back, and then look at this. He gets your queen because he destroys the pinning piece. You understand? You win the bishop because G2's pinned. It's pinned because of this rook. He destroys the rook. G2's not pinned anymore, and there you go. Now look at what happens. You're busted. Well, you're down the exchange. Could be a fight, but, most likely White's going to pull this one out. Okay? He's up 2.5 pawns, right? So there you go. See how quick, one little mistake. You think you got him on the ropes. Tactical resources, folks. Wham. All right. Be alert of that. Whenever you got to always watch the piece that's doing the pin, make sure your opponent can't take them out and put them in the box, because the next thing you know, your other piece is going to be dangling in the wind. All right. Pretty stuff, right? Lot to this game, right? Hey, we ain't playing pinochle here. Come on. All right, so now, that's just that little line, okay? They leave it. This was Lasker. Lasker had this little, let me make sure. Yeah, Lasker deduces an even ending after they were talking about this line right here. If Paulson plays this, okay, Steinitz claims that White wins, but he didn't prove anything. He didn't show any further analysis. Lasker looked into it. He says this, you got this, double those rooks, block them out with the bishop on E3. There you go. And he thinks this is a draw. All right? An even ending. Okay. So there you go. And I kept going with this one. It looks cute, but White can hang in there. All right. So there you go. Let's go back now. So his rook, this move by Paulson doesn't play this. He doesn't take advantage that Morphy develops the bishop on D7. He had this queen to A6. Okay? He could have held the draw. He plays this, and this basically throws the game away. Rook to A2. All right, rook to A2, question mark. All right, now, Morphy develops the rook. Double them up. Double up those rooks on the open file. Okay, now, Paulson, rook to A6. And here it is, folks, in the notes. Too late. Queen to D1 would at least have prevented fireworks, though leaving black with a very superior game. Okay? So, here we go. White being tied up. He's tied up. Look at his pieces. How the plague just spreads, You can't get that queen bishop out. Look at your queen rook. The D pawn held back, no center control, right? No pawns in the center. I mean, black doesn't have any pawns in the center either. But look at his rooks. He's got the open rook, the open king file, doubled rooks on the E file. All right. So the only piece really doing anything is his bishop on F3. Okay. So here we go. We doubled, right? And here comes the queen. Too late, they say. Too late. Too late. Do you see what the move is? Do you see what Morphy does? Folks, maybe the other variation gave you a hint. All right? Where do you think I grabbed it from? Come on. Where do you think I'm grabbing these ideas from? What does he do? Morphy sacks the queen for the bishop. Unbelievable. Look at this now. Look, like I said, the pieces are, watch this. The pieces are swarming into the attack now. Paulson's piece is no use in the defense. Look at the queens, totally out of the picture, just over there on A6. She's got no influence. Look at this now. Queen takes, double exclamation point. You're talking about one of his greatest combinations. Look at this. He sacks the queen, folks. They're playing for the money. They're playing for the money here. This is the big reputation, the first American Chess Congress, right? It's all on the line, folks. You never played a game this big. You understand? I don't know. Maybe some of you have. I don't know who I'm talking to out there, right? But, I mean, come on. Give the man credit. He got a double exclamation point for this. He's sacking the queen for a bishop. All right, here we go. Here we go. You probably see the first move. You check that king. Check him, right? Let's see what he does. All right, one square. He could only go over there, right? All right. So now here comes the rook attacking. I mean, the bishop attacking the rook on F1, right? Now, where's that guy going to go? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Paulson moves it to D1. Okay? Let's look at some of the other moves. All right, here go the other moves. Watch this. All right, this one's easy enough. Look at this. Mate, what does it say? Rook to knight, to the knight square. Black mates in 3. Here we go. Let's give it. Check, right? It's 1, 2. Queen blocks 3. There you go. Mate in 3, right? All over. Good pattern to see there, right? Now watch this. Here you go. You got to absorb these patterns, folks. Trust me. They come up in your games. If you haven't played long enough, you're not experienced, trust me. They come up in your games. You just got to develop that eye to see it. Okay, that's what we're doing here. That's what this is all about. All right. So now, what if right here they give queen to D3, huh? Okay, let's put that rook over there. Queen to D3, right? Queen to D3. Okay, now, if you got to play this move. Why? Because watch this. If you go here with check, king over. Now, you take over here would be mate. It would be mate, but he's aiming at him. See? He's tactical resources. He hangs in there. Now look, okay. Still a game, but, now white has, he's up the exchange. You see that? 2 rooks to 2 bishops. Okay. So you got to keep those tactical resources. You got to always keep those, be aware of those. So what do they say? They block out that queen like this. Block them out, right? And then they give this after the queen check, right? They say king here to F8. King to F8, right? And look at this now. This is what look at genius doing the same thing, right? They think alike, these machines. Pretty strange. I guess because it's the only real move you can do. Now, look at this. You take here. Look at this move. If he takes there, it's game over. Game over. See that? He comes back. Checkmate. You don't even need your light square bishop. You notice? It's just the rooks. The rooks keep, checkmate the king. Keep him from going anywhere. All right. But after this, okay, white's got this. He's got the check. All right, let's take that guy off. And again, folks, look. He can't even take him, like I said. The rooks alone mate the king. See that? Nowhere to go for the white king. All right, so, it's over, folks. He's toast, right? He takes here. Look, let's see, the engine goes here. You take him. Now look at it. D4, really? D4? What's so big about this? You're getting the bishop out, I guess, right? All right, so, look, okay, yeah, I remember this now. You put this guy down here. You're attacking C3. It's over. What's he going to do? Was he going to try to protect it like this? Can we bring the rook down? Can we bring the rook down? Maybe not. I don't know. Takes there, maybe. Bishop E6. Look at this. Oh wait, that's over here. Let me make sure we got this right. We're up a piece, okay? We got a light square bishop. He doesn't. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's see, blaring. You attack the rook on A2. Look at that. Game time, right? Attack the rook on A2. I don't know. He moves here. I mean, you know, he's toast. Now you go here. If he tries taking your bishop, right? If he takes here, you take him, right? Is that correct? Yeah. Because if he takes here, you take there. And there it is. It's game over. Game over. Take with the rook, right? You're setting it up. It's going to be a discovery no matter what. I mean, what are you going to do? All right, anyway. Make sure we got this right. C4 is the move. They're saying C4. All right, whatever. We get them off here. I mean, you're up the piece, right? You're up the piece. Look at this again. Look at this one. What could he do, right? He's pinned now. That rook is pinned to the black rook on E1. He can't come up or anything, right? He can't come up. It's illegal. I mean, what's he gonna do? This is crazy. Okay, he backs him up with this one. I mean, what else could he do? If he goes here, we get that other line, right? Check. He's got a block, right? We go here, and there you go. You got this again. He wants to do it this way because when you check, he wants to destroy the bishop. But so then he goes here, right? Is that what happens? What do we do now? Did we just blow it? I think we blew it, folks. Did we blow it? I wasn't looking at that. Let me make sure of this. Come on. We didn't do the best move, I guess. Right, if he takes there, we take. He blocks. Rook takes. Oh, okay, look, he comes up. You gotta protect your bishop this way. All right, you live and learn, right? You go over here to protect your bishop. All right, no good. King comes over, now you're in trouble. You go this way, he's got no squares. What am I doing? Look at it, so obvious. He's in a mating net, right? He's checkmating, but he's got to give up the rook. All right, there you go. See, I'm learning, I'm refreshing the tactics, right? There we go. Even us seasoned veterans, we're getting it. We're getting it done. All right, there you go. I'm glad I did this, right? Oh, God, I would have hung myself if I did this in the game, huh? Let's look at that again. Oh, boy. The king comes right over. Now look at it. Look at it. You blew it. You blew it. All right, you go over here. He takes his check, too. Look at this. Oh, boy. Now it's a draw. Forget about it. I look at it quickly. You endgame experts, maybe you see something. Well, it is a draw. You blew it. All right, you blew it. See the difference? My God. Look at it. Help me. Look at this. Check. He's got nowhere to go. Forced exchange on F3. And there you go. There you go. All right, guys. All right. Please, I know you're going to have to clean up your television sets, your computer screens, after throwing the popcorn and the soda pop at it, because I missed that one. All right. Forgive me, right? Okay. So anyway, at this day, I mean, look, we'll go back as far as you want. You didn't get mate right away, okay? But look, you're up a piece, okay? You got the light square bishop. You're doing fine, right? Okay, so where are we? That's after this line, okay? The D3 line, okay? Still a loss for white. Okay, so anyway, after the check, bishop in, right, to H3, Paulson plays the rook to D1. All right. Here comes the rook to D1. Here comes the, gotta go to the next page here. All right. Bishop check. King over. Take the pawn. Attacking the rook, right? Discover check. King here, right? King over. Now, look at this move. He checks again, okay? White's forced to go here, but watch this. Here we go. We got a more accurate move, okay? Here, Zuckertorp discovered a quicker and more elegant win with rook to G2. Amazing stuff. Threatening rook takes rook pawn. For instance, I don't know, you just move a piece. Right there, there you go. Rook's going to mate on H1. Nothing white can do. It's all over. Not one piece, nothing can influence H1. It's all over. You can't get the bishop on F3. You can't do anything. He's in a mating net, folks. It doesn't matter what he does now. You come over, there you go. Doesn't matter. Nothing helps. Okay? Just as an example. This is Zuckertorp now, right? So this is what he finds. Rook there, threatening. The rook takes h2, okay? So now they bring the queen over here. So if you try to do this, all right, he chops the bishop off. Now what do you got? You got a loss. That's what you got. Okay, but anyway, watch this now. This is crazy. Rook takes pawn, check. Okay, only square. Remember, you got the rook on e8. Can't go to the e file, right? Okay, only square. Now look at this. Rook to g2. Okay, double check. The rook is checking, and did you see this guy over here on b6, folks? The king bishop. Again, a key player in the king side attack. All right. No matter where he goes. If he goes here, there you go. Rook down, checkmate. And now look at this one. I like this even better. If he goes here, right? Checkmate. The bishop and the rook. Look, you can't double check. Look at it. This is beautiful. Double check. Your queen can't take out the bishop on f3 because the rook is checking on g1. The rook on d1, white's rook, can't take out the rook and do anything because the bishop on f3 is checking. It's a double check. The game is over. Most powerful move on the board, a double check. Don't you forget it. All right? You can't do anything. The king can only run from a double check. And if he can't run, well, then it's checkmate. Good one to remember. Beautiful stuff. Zuckertort discovering this one. Great player, too, back in the day. All right, so now, okay, let's see what Morphy does. All right, what Morphy does, let's see. He played after king over to f1. Here comes the bishop check again on g2. All right, only square. Can't go to the e file. The rook over there. Okay, he brings it back. And now Morphy pulls the bishop to h3, forcing the king in the corner. Now watch this one. Watch this one. Here's another one for you. Tactics, folks. Tactics. Look at this. Here again, there is a quicker line. Bishop to e4, check. Right? Only square. Okay. King to f1. And now look at this. The zigzag maneuver. Look at this. Bishop to f5. And he's coming to h3 with mate. Look at those two rooks. On the where are they, folks? On the open files. Hello? On the open files, right? Making all this possible. All right, the queen wants to come back over here, right? Because now with the check, which he throws in, okay, now he has an escape square. But doesn't matter, folks. Rook down. You know, the queen can't block on f1, folks. It's pinned. It's pinned, right, to the rook on e8. That's it. Game over. Beautiful stuff, right? I'll tell you, this one's just chock full of them. Chock full of them. All right. So now, okay. So after this, Morphy doesn't pull the bishop there and then go to f5. Beautiful stuff, right? Because now any move, right? Rook, bishop to h3, checkmate, okay? The rook's keeping the king out of either file, the g file or the e file. All right, so anyway, that's not what Morphy does, though. After the check, king goes there, Morphy pulls the bishop. Move 23, correct? Move 23, bishop to h3, check, and the king goes in the corner, and now Morphy grabs the f-pawn, right? Now we're threatening bishop to g2, mate. We made him with the bishop, because now look at those bishops, okay, cutting through the position. Evil, right? Evil diagonals for the black bishops, okay. So bishop takes f2, and now, all right, the queen coming down, right? This is when you know you're desperation. No other move to stop bishop g2, mate. Okay. He chops him off. Okay. Chops him off. Rook takes, right? You got this rook down to e2. All right. I don't know. I don't really get this move, but anyway, look at this. Paulson brings the rook back. Brings the rook back. I guess because he wants to play d4, right? And if he tries to play it now, well, if he tries to play d4, this is hanging, right? He just hangs the rook. That move was a total waste of time. All right, he moves it back. Let's see, rook here, okay? Rook here, and now, like I said, d4 is played. Okay, that's why he moved the rook back to a1. And look at this. Bishop to e3, game over. All right, if he takes, doesn't matter. Check, and you got the rooks on the 7th. Hogs on the 7th. Hogs on the 7th. Checkmate. Look at this. Total destruction. When you get the rooks like that, oh boy, look out. That would be checkmate, right? Paulson resigns. Paulson resigns after bishop to e3. No hope. Nothing left. Game over. And here it is. A beautiful game. Although the sacrificial combination arises out of an unusual variation, pawn to, wait, let me see that. Move 8, right? Pawn to b5, right? That was pawn to b5. You know, I'm reading descriptive notation, you know, so I'm transposing it in my head as I'm reading this, folks. Yeah, move 8, pawn to b5. Here it says pawn to queen knight 4. Yeah, you ever have those old books reading this stuff? I'll tell you, make your head spin. But I've done it so much, it's kind of second nature. I transpose it just right off the bat. All right, so anyway, there you go. So you got, it says right here, a beautiful game, although the sacrificial combination arises out of an unsound variation, pawn to b5, and is materially helped by black's errors. And although, too, Morphy missed the speedier wins on his 22nd and 23rd moves. 4-hour game. All right? Pretty short considering the, you know, what they've been going through. 15 hours, 10 hours, 9 hours, whatever it's been, 7 hours, 4 hours. This was a quick one, right? What a game. So concludes one of Morphy's most famous combinations. I wouldn't say the most famous. I'll show you that one. That when we get to it, oh boy. But anyway, there's plenty more where this came from, folks. I mean, practically every other game's got an amazing combination. Beautiful stuff. He was just too strong, you get it? He was just too strong. His powers were just ahead of his time, folks, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. You study these games. You develop, you get his ideas. You're playing players under 2,000, you will be too powerful for them to handle. That's what this is all about. You have a lot of fun with this game, blowing people away, you know. You might even feel kind of cruel after a while. the destruction you leave in your wake, you know. But anyway, hey, that's what this is about, okay? You know, passive people don't play chess. You got to understand that. We're very violent. We're very angry and mean people. All right, so that's how it is. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we got all walks of life playing chess, right, folks? Just go to one tournament. You'll know exactly what I mean. Oh, boy. Before I get into trouble, I'm going to conclude there, all right? Thanks again with another exciting episode of Morphy's Games of Chess. All right, baby. Game 17 coming up.